Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Craig, and if this is your first time here, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. In today's video, I am going to be taking a look at a 1976 horror classic called Carrie. A schoolgirl who has a rough upbringing with a crazy mother who is obsessed with God and Jesus, who also gets bullied in school by her classmates. Carrie really doesn't have anyone to turn to, but she does soon discover that she has the ability to move things with her eyes, a little bit like Matilda, but on a more horrifying scale. When Carrie is invited to prom night, that's when things turn real crazy. A night that nobody ever forgot. Carrie, in my opinion, is an absolute classic. I love everything about it. I love the 70s feel to it with the disco music thrown in. So let's start off with her crazy mother, because Carrie's mum is one crazy bitch. And I mean, she's real crazy. She hides behind religion and forces Carrie to pray to Jesus. There is a horrifying scene where Carrie's mum drags her along the floor and into a cupboard under the stairs to pray for her sins. And there is a creepy looking Jesus statue in there. I mean, look at that. That is nightmare fuel right there. Carrie's mum is really abusive towards her in the whole movie, slapping her in the face and hitting her with the Bible. I mean, at the start of the movie, Carrie ends up getting her period while in the school showers, and she totally freaks out when she sees the blood, and she ends up freaking out and asking all of the girls in the changing rooms to basically help her, but they all just end up laughing at her and they push her back into the showers, and then they all start throwing tampons at her, and the whole time Carrie is screaming and howling because she honestly thinks that she is dying and that, there's something wrong with her. And the reason for this is because her crazy mother never taught her anything about periods or puberty. So poor Carrie is having a really tough time in school, and she's also having a horrific time at home with her mother. Who the hell can this girl turn to? Well, the gym PE teacher, Rhonda, is the only person in this movie who shows Carrie some genuine love and affection. When the girls are terrorizing Carrie in the showers with the tampons, Rhonda comes in and sorts them all out, and she gives Carrie a hug. This is also the first time where we see Carrie's psychic powers when the light bulb smashes. I absolutely hate bullying scenes in movies and TV shows. It always makes my blood boil, even though I know it's not real. It just gets me mad every single time. But whenever I go back and rewatch this movie, I just remind myself of how they will all get their just desserts by the end of the movie, which is also very satisfying. This movie also stars John Travolta, who actually plays one of the baddies in the movie. He plays Chris's partner Billy Nolan, and these two characters together are just toxic. They pretty much abuse each other, and they basically egg each other on when, in terms of the hatred of Carrie White. Now, after what Chris and her friends did to Carrie at the start of the movie in the showers, they are told by Rhonda that they will all need to do a week's worth of, PE detention, or they will be banned from going to the prom. Now, Chris ends up having a big fallout with Rhonda, and she refuses to do the detention, so she's basically out of the prom. And Chris decides to take some huge revenge on Carrie White with the help of her boyfriend. Meanwhile, you've got Sue, who is feeling really bad about what she did to Carrie, and she ends up persuading her boyfriend Tommy Ross to take Carrie to prom to basically make up for it and boost her confidence. It's a whole catalyst of events that just ends up crashing together in horrific fashion in the end. Whenever we think about the movie Carrie, we all automatically think of the scene at prom where Carrie is covered in the pig's blood. And it probably is the best scene of the entire movie. Now, up until prom, Carrie wasn't too sure on how to use these psychic powers that she has, but by By the time she is crowned prom queen with Tommy Ross, and then Chris pulls the bucket of pig's blood down on top of Carrie, Carrie literally loses her shit. She ends up using her powers to take full revenge on the whole school, even people who had nothing to do with what was happening. Carrie has just basically had enough. She's been pushed right over that edge, and everyone in that school is about to pay. So Carrie uses all of her powers to destroy and kill everyone, and I mean there's people being electrocuted, a hosepipe drowning people, the PE teacher Rhonda, she gets cut in half. It's absolute carnage, and Carrie ends up setting the whole school on fire, and she then just walks through this whole burning inferno while everyone else is being burnt alive, and she just leaves everyone to die. It's an absolutely epic scene in the movie. It's really satisfying seeing all of the people who wronged Carrie through the whole entire movie finally get their comeuppance. I mean, there were probably a few innocent people in the school who ended up getting killed, and I was a little bit shocked when Carrie ended up killing Rhonda, the PE teacher, but you know, Carrie had just totally lost it. Chris and boyfriend Billy do get away from the prom just before everything kicks off, but Carrie does not forget about them. When Chris and Billy attempt to drive at Carrie and try and run her over, Carrie just turns around and uses her powers to cause their car to crash and kill them. The very final battle in this movie is between Carrie and her crazy mother. Now Carrie, she ends up back at home and she takes a bath and washes all of that pig's blood off her. And when Carrie's mum appears from one of the bedrooms, I think it is, she ends up stabbing Carrie in the back, and she's basically trying to kill her daughter until Carrie uses her powers to stab her mum with the rest of the kitchen knives in the house. The house then starts to crumble and cave in on itself with Carrie and her mum inside, and then the house becomes a blaze and Carrie just ends up dying along with her mother, and the effects of the house just crumbling down is still pretty awesome and effective even by today's standards. Now, I know a lot of people get confused as to why Carrie decided to destroy the house and kill herself. I mean, like, why didn't Carrie just run away after she killed her mother? Well, the conclusion that I always come to is that Carrie had just had enough. She had been humiliated by everyone at her school. Her mum had just stabbed her in the back. And even though Carrie did kill her mum in self-defense, she did love her mum dearly. So after the death of her mother, I just don't think Carrie wanted to be around anymore. And you know, it's really, really tragic when you think about it. Not only that, but Carrie had just killed a crazy amount of people at prom, and she basically would have just ended up in prison or a mental asylum. There is a huge jump scare at the very end of this movie, which I just friggin' love, because I have watched this movie so many times with other people who have never watched Carrie before, and I always wait to see what their reactions are going to be like in that final scene. And every single person who I've watched it with, they literally jump out of their chair every single time. It is friggin' brilliant. So the scene I'm talking about now, Sue. Sue is the only survivor from prom, and the movie ends with her having this trippy dream sequence where she goes to Carrie's grave to lay some flowers, but as she goes to put the flowers down, Carrie's hand comes up from the ground and grabs Sue's arm, and it's just so unexpected. I honestly think it's one of the best jump scares ever. It's definitely up there in like the top 5, definitely. Ultimately, Carrie is a really tragic and sad story. A girl who had a horrible life with nobody to turn to that ended in horrific fashion. I absolutely love this movie, even though it's not your typical slasher horror or haunted house horror. It's completely different to other horror movies, and that's what makes this movie unique and an absolute classic, and it's literally the ultimate horror prom movie. So let's hear some of your thoughts. Do we have any Carrie fans watching today? If we do, then why not let me know in the comments box below, and also let me me know if you jumped out of your skin when you first saw that famous jump scare ending for the first time. Okay then guys, well thank you all for watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.